How about yourself?
Girl, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. It's been a good day. It has.
Wonderful. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Let's
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Victoria Campbell, the co-founder of the Black MS Narrative Project.
And I'm Mimi Cowens, co-founder of the Black MS Narrative Project. I was
Yeah.
about to say this summer is winding down.
Oh yes.
It's like we heading into Q4 already. I
Mhm.
cannot believe 2024 is almost over.
I know it. I know, but I'm also really grateful for school and the
Oh,
children being back in school. Peyton and Langston, listen, love them so much, but mommy knows. Okay. Just wait.
oh,
Just
that was hilarious. And listen, and if you all saw our last episode, which of course was my story, then you all heard Miss Victoria very beautifully juggling hosting and mommying, and also
Lily.
canine mommying. Lily, Lily started barking.
Yes.
Hayden and Langston. Well, Langston, he inside voices. The brother, he don't
Yeah,
understand
he's
what that is.
he's working on it.
But it's all good. It was a
Yeah.
wonderful episode, and I again I commend you. You did an amazing job, and I really enjoyed telling my story. And as I heard myself talking about it, there were things that I had forgotten. So it helped for me to kind of like tell my MS journey again too, so I could recall
Absolutely.
some things. Yeah.
And that's the power of storytelling, right? Because it's not just about the viewers or the listeners, but really about the healing that takes place in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you have such a rich story, and I wish we had just more time. But what's amazing is that even in our conversations that we're having, we're
Yes.
able to discover so much more, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you. Thank you again.
Yes.
So it's human being check-in time.
Yeah. All right. You want to go first this time?
Sure. You went first before. Let's see. What's going on? Um, like I said, I mean, I'm doing all right. I had mentioned that I'm in school. I didn't really specify what kind of school that I'm in.
Mm.
I am pursuing a massage therapy license, and I had a week off. We have a week off in between every 6 week term, and
Mhm.
my goodness, I feel like I am in med school. I have never heard so much Latin.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I mean, the anatomy that you have to learn to
Yeah.
become a massage therapist is crazy, yo. I mean, like low key, like we physicians, and
Mm.
though we are not bound by the Hippocratic oath of do no harm, we are to do no harm. We don't have to take a
Yeah.
sworn oath, but it's an unspoken do no harm, because there's so many different things associated with massage therapy and so many stigmas that this profession has had to overcome
Mhm.
over the
Mhm.
years. I mean, massage therapists for a long time had a reputation of I mean, some people likened it to sex working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you had to kind of I one of the last classes that I took was an ethics class and
Mm.
professional development class, which I think is so important for massage therapists to take, because there is a very fine line where people trust you implicitly with a very intimate touch,
Right.
right? But also they trust you to be consummate professionals. And so it was really, really interesting. And so I'm heading back in after this week off break and getting gearing up for anatomy. So my first term was anatomy, Swedish and deep tissue, lower extremity. The second term was anatomy, deep tissue, and Swedish um, torso. Next is head, face, and neck. Then it's upper extremity. And then I head into clinicals where I
Oh.
do
Wow.
my massages. But again, like I said, I'm glad that this particular program I'm in breaks it up,
Mhm.
because I have heard that there are some massage therapy schools that don't. and they try to whisk you through really quickly. So I'm glad that at my school, Gwinnett, we get a really comprehensive learning experience of
Yeah,
these muscles, because
absolutely.
otherwise, sister would not look in my big age of 52. This brain of mine, after all the other degrees and licenses I got,
Yeah.
going back for this one, honestly, part of my why is I want to help those of us impacted by MS use massage as a way of holistic healing.
Oh, wow.
That's one
Yeah.
of the reasons that I pursued this. I have other reasons and aspirations of owning a school, and so there's something to be said for credentials. I've already got several degrees, and I said, look, why not add one more, right?
Right. But and then at the same time, from what I understand, you also get massages while you're learning about massages.
Ooh, wait,
Ooh,
and that has really helped with my pathologic muscle spasm. I mean,
man.
selfishly, that's one of the perks of massage therapy school is taking those sheets. When the teacher says, "Okay, it's time for trades," I'm like, "Whoo, yay!" So, what about you? What about you?
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. This weekend was really, it was an opportunity for my family to come together and celebrate my younger sister. We had a birthday party for her, which was just really wonderful, wonderful. She has Down syndrome and turned 30, and like it just was a celebration of all the things that she loves: music, dancing, coloring. Like we had so much fun. We did a Parisian theme, and she was just over the moon, and I wouldn't have traded those moments with her for the world.
Oh,
But then we also just had a chance to connect with family um afterwards at the park. Now I will say
mm.
it was a long day Saturday,
Mhm.
and I found myself melting, and like to the point where I was walking fine in the morning, and I needed my rollator, my wheelchair, like you know what I mean, by the end.
Mhm.
And I feel as though I probably could have and should have said something sooner
Mm.
about how I was feeling.
Mhm.
Not that I waited too long. It's just that once I did say something, it took
Mhm.
too long to transition to where I could, get out of the heat, and
Okay.
I'm still, after each relapse, I've learned that my what do you call it? Maybe just like
Recovery time.
not my recovery time, but just my ability to be in that space
Okay.
changes.
Yeah.
Right. I just remember summers where, I'm outside and I might just get a little tired, or I might walk a little slower, but I'm still walking. And then, now I'm finding that, okay, I can't do that. So I'm needing to be kinder to myself, give myself more grace. We
Yes,
already
you
know
are.
heat is not our best friend.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
and I know it's awful because it's like in your mind, like I talked about it in our last episode, the mental gymnastics
Mm.
that we are constantly battling. Am I going to be able to walk from the car to that bench? Okay, from that bench to the picnic area. Okay, how many steps can I get to without my rollator, without my
Mhm.
cane? Okay, how long am I going to be able to be out in this heat? Like all those questions that are constantly going through your head, and you like,
Yeah.
I hate this disease.
And then thinking that I prepared, like I had
Uh-huh.
my ice collar and my fan and my cold drink, thinking I prepared, but it still is not being enough.
Well, but so then how did you recover from that?
Yeah, I went home. My husband Brad is just amazing. My sister, I'm excited to are you introducing, or am I?
You are, but
Okay,
before we
okay.
do that, though, we're going to talk about what the Black MS Narrative Project is. We're
Yeah.
going to ask folks to like, share, and subscribe.
Mhm.
But yes, it was a wonderful segue into our first guest on today. But
Yeah,
before
so
we
I was
get
just saying that my
into
sister was very, very pivotal in my ability to transition from it being just so super challenging.
Yes.
We sat in our car with the air conditioner on low, 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 to the point where I was cold. And then she took me home, and that in and of itself just was, I was able to woosah with my sister, right? I was able to cool off, yeah, so God is good. God is good.
God is good. And so family is the theme of today's I think today's podcast. And before we introduce, okay, so it's no secret, y'all. Her sister's gonna be on the show, but we're gonna we teased enough, okay? But before we introduce the wonderful Tanisha, the Black MS Narrative Project is a project that is near and dear to both Victoria and myself. We are two Black female creatives who came together, created this podcast for African Americans impacted by this disease by giving them a storytelling platform, okay, to share their story. And if they are creatives like ourselves, to understand that healing can come various ways, especially through our art form.
Absolutely. Yes. So please like, share, and subscribe. We are hoping that this becomes a movement, recognizing that this platform is not just for people diagnosed with MS, but for their family members, their community, their friends, their doctors, just whomever truly has had a role to play in our journey, because our journey is not in a bubble, in a vacuum, but rather it spans, right? It reaches, and we hope that this can become, as we've said in the past, a movement, truly. Okay, so lovely transition. We have this beautiful woman who am just honored is on this platform with us today, Tanisha Shontae. She is my sister. She is a published author. She is a mother of two beautiful girls, and she has come on today because she is willing and ready and able to tell her story with us. So, hey, T.
Welcome.
Hello. Hi, ladies. It is an honor to be here. I just been in the back and backstage listening to your conversation, cracking up with you. So, yeah, family is everything. And I feel like it's Mimi, like you already feel like family. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that the stars aligned and the Lord saw fit to bring you two together to do this project. And let's get it started.
Let's get it started. So I'm going to jump in with the first question.
Okay.
Victoria talked about the recent gathering for your sister, your baby sister, and how you helped her in that moment of, okay, I've probably exerted myself too far. And I'm not feeling 100%. How do I transition from this moment without losing myself? And you helped to talk her back down off of that ledge. Now, tell us first and foremost the age difference. Who's the older sister?
I want the viewers to guess.
Right?
That ain't fair.
Let's do a poll. Type in your comment. I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Type in your comment, but you know that ain't fair. I saw a meme the other day showing this little girl's face with little dimples, and it said at the top, black women be like, I'm turning 50 next week.
Yep, I've seen that, and I love it. That's my mom. That's my mother right there.
Right?
We do not look our age. But yes, so
I'm the eldest. I'm the eldest sister. I'm the elder.
Okay.
And so by about 9.5 years or so.
Almost 10 years. So Victoria is your baby sister.
She's my baby, for real.
So you have been in this nurturing big sister role for a long time, even before learning of her MS
diagnosis. Yeah, man.
So tell me, talk to me about that moment and what that was like being in a support role for you.
Well, and I'm only getting teary-eyed because you just reminded me of Vic when she was a baby, and I'm just like, yeah, that's right. I've been her I've been that person for her since she was a baby. So the diagnosis hit me hard because I just know my sister and how vibrant she is. She dances, she lights up the room wherever she goes. So I've always just wanted to be that person for her, to let her know, like, no, you can do this. This is fine. Like, you're gonna be all right. Um, so for on Saturday when we had our gathering, like, I know the heat hits and I know all of the things, all of the fun that comes with parties and planning, and also being a mom. So you're managing, like, where's this kid? Where's that kid? And you can't have any more ice cream, and like that whole thing. I knew it was coming, but I just to be there, I feel like she's immediately stronger. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see her as like she's about to fall, or something bad is about to happen. I'm just there. And then I'm like, how do I get you to a place where you can be comfortable, where people can stop asking you if you're okay? Where, sometimes it's just like the repetitive, are you okay? Are you okay? What do you need? What do you need? No, it's like, I already know what you need. Let's go. Let's get in the car where it's cool so you can cool down. You know what I mean? So, and I made the joke earlier when we were talking, is like, I've just always wanted I lean on me. When we have those moments, we lock arms and we walk, or we do what we got to do. And it's lean on me. And we just start singing and we start getting where we have to go.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, you've been supporting her in her journey since she was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you yourself are also living with MS. Talk to us about your journey to diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when I started experiencing some odd symptoms in about 2015, I think it was, I had just had my second daughter. My daughters are 6.5 years apart, and I had Viana when I was 34. She was supposed to be born on my birthday, and she came 3 weeks early. And that's okay because she wanted her own month. But after she was born, I don't think it's related, but I can just time it because I remember. I'll explain. I started to have these weird feelings in my leg where I felt like my leg just kind of give out, and I would just like, oof, like just kind of, and I kind of felt in my mind, in my head, like I had just come off an elevator. Like it was just this interesting sensation of like, and then I had a twitch in my eye and in my lip that lasted for like 2 weeks. And you know how you get a twitch and you want somebody to see it real quick before it goes away? Well, mine never went away. And that's why I felt I should probably go to the doctor, because the leg thing and the twitch thing definitely made me think, okay, this is neurological. And by then, I think, my sister had already had her diagnosis, and we, been living through that, and kind of, I put that aside. I didn't really think about it. But after the MRIs and after the discussions with the doctor, they said, we believe you have MS. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, these little tiny symptoms are nothing compared to what my sister goes through. When we're talking about having to go to rehab and getting steroids and doing this and that and the third. And I didn't even say it from like a place of fear, like, oh no, that can't happen to me. It was more like, no.
You were comparing what you
I was comparing what she had, but also the way of like,
experiencing.
Like, how dare you say I have that, because I'm already taking care of my sister who has that, and my symptoms are nowhere near as bad. This can't be that. So it's interesting because we talked about the different treatments and things that were around, and she gave me like all this paperwork and brochures to take a look at and then follow up. And it wasn't long after I stopped breastfeeding Biana that I noticed the symptoms just went away. Like the leg weirdness and the feeling of falling and all of that, it just disappeared. And I didn't experience, like, I just forgot about it. Like, I knew it was there, but I didn't pursue medication. I didn't pursue anything, because now I'm a new mom. I'm a full-time employee. I have another daughter, who's 6, my oldest daughter was 6.5 years older, and I'm, just doing everything that we do. So
this was what year?
2015.
This was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
They actually said the words, you have MS, in 2015.
Yes. And okay. I disregarded it.
Okay.
So I remember having conversation with you at that time, and then really, feeling like, okay, so the symptoms went away, and so now you've decided not to treat. Did you also stop seeing the neurologist once the symptoms went away?
Yes.
Okay, so you just didn't go back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I am. I'm definitely one of those people when it comes to doctors and things. Like I'm gonna follow my own path. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I remember thinking too, like, thinking of the family connection and being your sister, like every time you would have an episode or an incident, I felt bad, not just for you, like wanting to be there to support you or to, pray through what was going on, but I also felt like, why not me? I felt
Mhm.
like, why does Vic have to keep taking on so much pain and suffering? I'm like, I'm here, you know, like I almost, and I had said it before, like when we were, sometimes you go through some low points, and I said, if I could take it from you, I would take it, at least just to give you a break. Um, so that's another reason why I didn't want to accept it, because I'm just like, no, we can't both have it. I need to be strong for my sister.
Did you tell her or did you keep it a secret?
Uh, when I got the first diagnosis, I told her.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And
But
Victoria, what did you
mhm.
think? Did you agree with the doctor?
So in the beginning, I had been told that MS wasn't hereditary. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking, what are the odds? Like, there's no way that this
Right.
is related in any way. And, this, but research continues to change.
Yeah.
And I
I
think,
remember our mother immediately was like, "What is it?" What she wanted, like, what kind of mushrooms, or what kind of minerals, or anything that she could point out. I was like,
supplements,
what
yes.
was it that was going on at this time in our life that we could have both been exposed to? But it's not that.
Now, where does CIS factor into this?
So I read somewhere that the CIS is it's a clinically isolated
Syndrome.
scenario syndrome.
Mm.
It's like one of those things that happens once and then doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Um,
And did you think that that's what this was?
Only years later when I read about it.
Yeah.
When once like I said, the symptoms went away. So here's the thing: they said you have lesions here, here, and here.
Uh-huh.
And I had the symptoms, and then I'm like, but it's not that serious. It's not that severe. I don't know if taking medicine is going to make it worse, or if I'm just going to have bills out the wazoo. I don't really trust. At the time, I didn't really trust, like, all things. So when they mentioned the lesions, and my symptoms went away, and I'm kind of thinking, like, if you MRI everybody, we probably all got lesions.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's probably,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like, it could explain. And I had also had some lower back pain. I had some fatigue. I have had other things that could all be wrapped into this describes MS. And I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking, well, you know what I mean? So I just kind of wrote it off, like, but let me cut to 2021, because I know.
I was getting ready to ask. Tell us where 2021 comes into play.
Mhm.
Okay, so COVID, the
Ah,
pandemic, everything that happens, all the stress, all of that. I know we escaped getting COVID for like the whole pandemic time. So we got it in August of 2021. And I timed this because now I remember it was soon after we recovered. And when I say we, because my whole family got it. I got it last. My husband, Viana, then my husband, then myself. Maya never officially got diagnosed, and she wasn't hardly sick, but the whole family was down, right?
mhm.
A few months after that, I started waking up with like severe leg cramps, like a
Mm,
huge, like a hit to my lower back that would just
Mm.
radiate down my leg. And I
mm.
would just wake up like yelling and crying, and it was bad. But
Excruciating.
normally it would happen after my husband left for work. He's up and out by like 4:30 in the morning. So normally I was by myself when it happened, and I would just hold a pillow, or I would muffle the sounds until it went away, because I'm thinking it's just a cramp and I don't know why. I need to drink more water, whatever. It happened for a while before I did anything about it. And I remember I went to visit my best friend in Hawaii, like of all places. I took
Mm.
the first trip to visit her. She'd been out there for like 15 years, and I'd made my first trip to visit her. And I was in her room by myself at the time, and it happened. Normally, it would happen in my sleep, or it would wake me up, but it started happening where I could feel it coming when I was awake. And that's when it got scary, because I'm like, or if I'm just out walking or driving or whatever. So it
Right.
happened when I was sitting in her bed. I was writing in my journal, and I just felt it come. And then I kind of suppressed it, but then I couldn't walk. When I tried to get up, my leg wouldn't work. And so I called her in, and she came in, and I told her what happened, and she just started rubbing my feet because she's wonderful like that. And I told her what had been happening, and I described my symptoms. And she said to me, Tanisha, if either one of your daughters described this to you, what would you do? And I was like, I would call the doctor right away. And she's like, and why haven't you called the doctor? Like there's your answer.
Wake up call.
Yeah.
It was a wake up call, because I would rather suppress it and not deal with it and just wait for it to go away for so long. And I literally
like me. I didn't medicate for the first 7 years.
Wow.
After
that's almost exactly how long.
After my diagnosis.
Yeah.
So for those from 2015 to 2021, you didn't go to the neurologist, you didn't take any medication. You were like, this ain't MS. I'd reject that diagnosis. And then 2021, it smacked you in the face and you said, I gotta go to the doctor.
Mm.
So did you go in Hawaii or did you wait till you got back?
I called while I was in Hawaii, and I made an appointment for when I came back. And that's when I started the, re-imaging, hooked up with the neurologist that I have now, and it was confirmed. Yeah.
And do you have relapsing remitting?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What medication are you taking?
So I'm on Kesimpta, the monthly injection by Novartis. That didn't exist when I was first diagnosed in 2015. So after going over all the different options available, this one definitely seemed to be the best. And my doctor was very adamant, like, this is the one for you. And she convinced me, and I've been taking it ever since, with the exception of sometimes I forget. But
well, so I really want to delve into that a little bit more, because me being your sister, I know a little more. Right. So God is good, because we actually have the same neurologist right now. And she is outstanding. I had her during a short time when I was here, between when my husband was deployed, and then now came back, and Tanisha had her. Now I also have her, but she is very thorough. She's very, she's committed to not just making sure that you are well and making the best decisions, but also just giving you all of the options, which at times can be overwhelming. It can be. So you chose the Kesimpta. You have taken it, and as we know, we should take it. But I also know that there are times when what was that?
You're still here.
Okay, my screen went completely black.
Okay, but you're still here.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, something just fell. It's okay. There are times when it's time to take your medication, and you either, and you can clarify, correct me if I'm wrong, you choose not to, or you forget, or it's just.
I set an alarm, and then I'm always doing something when that alarm goes off. And it's usually for a Saturday night. And then I will dismiss it. And then, don't want to do it now. We're watching a movie, or don't want to do it now. I'm cooking. Don't want to do it now. I'm having a good time with my family, whatever. So I will dismiss it until I'll just take it Sunday. And then I don't. By the way, my symptoms with the excruciating pain in my leg and everything, that went away after I started seeing a chiropractor. I started seeing a chiropractor soon after I got diagnosed. We love our chiropractor. I know Victoria started seeing the same one. I don't know if we're saying names on this podcast, but he's awesome. And all the problems, Dr. Kennedy, he's awesome. And he did some adjustments in my hip and in my lower back and around here that, like I said, soon after, they went from being just like really excruciating to less, and then non-existent. So again, I think that's another reason why I'm not as anxious about taking the medication if I miss it. And then part of me is still have a little bit of a rebellious side of like, I don't know if I need it. I don't know if it's really doing what it's supposed to do. I just know I have to take this injection every month, and I don't like it. I don't. So
that's real.
Yeah.
One thing about, we keep it real. You watched our episodes. We're gonna acknowledge the real. on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, even I'm 2.5, almost 3 years into now taking Tysabri.
Mm.
And there are days where I'm just like, I hate that I even gotta do all of this. I mean, though that is real. And I
Yeah.
mean, and this disease does have, it takes a toll mentally
Oh yeah.
on you
For
as
sure.
well as physically because it's a lot to take in, right? How else has MS affected you in a mental health space that you feel like, gosh, I'm either not doing what I know I should do because of the MS, or I don't want to accept this XYZ thing because of the MS, or there are some things I've deferred because of my diagnosis.
So knowing that MS is an autoimmune condition, and the way that what is happening to the body is described, as in your white blood cells that are supposed to protect you from disease and harm and danger are attacking you. They're attacking
Mhm.
your nerve endings and your myelin sheath, and it's almost like like it's now seeing your body as the enemy and it's attacking you. It made me think my body is mad at me,
Mm,
and
Mhm.
my spirit is not well, or whatever the core is that is aligning all of the things that are going on in my body is not well. And I took it as it's because I have suppressed the things that I really want to do or that I should be doing. And I felt I hadn't lived the life. I don't want to put it in like some super metaphysical way, but basically, like, it took me 15 years to go see my friend in Hawaii. The pandemic had just happened and everyone was locked down and locked in. And then, so once this diagnosis came, it was really it was very, there's a dichotomy there because the diagnosis was very sad and daunting, but I also felt like I had never been more alive. Like, I was out. I'm doing all the things I want to do. No one can tell me nothing. I'm out. And Victoria will remember very fondly. That was the summer of sun's out, I'm out. Like all of the
Mhm.
bars and restaurants and festivals and everything was happening. I had become, in my mind, this wife and mother that put everyone else's needs first. And if my husband wasn't up for going out and doing things and being festive, then I wasn't doing it either. If the girls needed something more than what my needs were, then I was attending to them. And I pretty much forgot what I wanted to do. Someone
Mm.
said, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" And we would have that discussion for a long time. I just kind of went out. Like, I don't know if this answers the question, but it affected me of like, I'm not saying no to anything. If someone invites me somewhere, I'm going. If it's something I
Yeah.
want to do, I'm doing it, whether or not, XYZ person thinks it's cool or not, I'm just going to do it. And I kind of felt rebellious, but very happy at the same
Huh.
time.
So did you almost have this, like, because I had a moment of, well, you know what, life is too short, right?
Mm-hmm,
And I need to do for me. I need
mm-hmm.
to remember me and what I'm doing. And I remember seeing that in you, almost like I don't know if it was a switch as much as it was like a very quick, like,
A quick
you know what I
ascension.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's kind of how it was. It was almost like YOLO. I have to do what makes me happy.
yeah. And I heard you
I
say
don't know how long I'm going to be able
dancing.
to dance at a reggae fest. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to, do the things that I really want to do without having to have
Uh-huh.
support from someone else. So I
mm.
really took that season
Wow.
to just kind of spread my wings. And it was good. In a lot of ways, it was good. In some ways, I think, we talk about our relationships and things. It did kind of, give my husband a bit of a side eye and like, what's going on here. But again, it was for the first time. I was like not asking permission to go out and do things. I was just like, okay, I'm going out. You guys are good. Okay, I'm good. And I'm out.
And you're like, wait, I might want to go. Okay, bye. Let me. So how has that like, I know that it's been a journey for you, How has it been with your husband? And how has the journey been together with the two of you?
Hmm. Well, God bless him. The first time I described what the disease does, he made me laugh, but also it made me a little upset because he said, was there like a pill or something you can take that like stops your body from doing that? And is there a surgery? Like basically when you hear about like the myelins that are damaged, he's like, well, can't you just cut them out? And like, my first thought was like, okay, that's so
I'm gonna
typical of like,
die.
just
I'm
cut
gonna
it out.
die
And then
if I
I'm
do that.
thinking like, wait, what did you say?
I said I'm gonna die if I do that.
like I'm like, babe, this is nerve surgery. This is like in your no, hun, you can't. All
No.
of these things that you're thinking, and now to his defense, it was just how he was thinking.
Well, and
Like,
that's so
well,
interesting
what can
because
we do
not
to help you?
everybody, like, if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
Right.
And so he was,
Men are fixers. They just want to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's cut the myelin sheath off.
Yeah. Just cut that one out. Like you don't need that one no
yeah.
more. So I did talk more about like how, wanting to do the things that I want to do. Like Victoria mentioned in my intro, thank you, that I am a published author, but it's been years since I've written anything, like attending to everything else and being like in a not creative environment as far as work is concerned. And I don't give myself that space to be creative. So I started writing again, and I told him that was important to me, and he was supportive in that. I also told him some of my fears is like, if I do need that type of help, like if I'm not able to walk or if I need help going to the bathroom or something like that, I never wanted to be in that position. I remember just being helpless enough after my C-sections that I was like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. And not to his point, some people are just born nurturers and like nurse type people, and other people are not. And I didn't want to have to, I don't want to be in a place where I have to teach him what to do, but that's kind of where I'm at. And that's been difficult because I don't like to ask for help, and I don't like to. It's funny, there's a meme of like, I forget, it's the wife from a Family Guy, and she's looking angry, and the meme says, this is my wife when I ask her what's the matter instead of reading her mind. And like that, yeah, I kind of want you just to know.
Yeah.
Because as a nurturer, I have that gift. I know where it hurts. I can just walk up to you and start rubbing your neck, and it feels good. Massage therapy, we'll talk about that later, but that's something that I went to massage therapy school. I was this close to getting my license, and my path turned, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's a wonderful profession.
Oh wow.
Oh goodness.
That's a good segue. What are some of the things that you do? So first of all, what are some of the symptoms that you still have, and what are some of the things that you do to help yourself feel better with the disease?
Sure. Overwhelming fatigue just hits me out of the blue. I'll be fine, and then the next thing you know, I feel like it almost feels like sadness, or like a weight comes over me. I wake up every morning with lower back pain and pain in my joints, my hips, my knees, my elbows sometimes. And it's frustrating because I never know if it's like, did I sleep wrong, or am I getting old, or is it this, or is it that? So the symptoms are so, and I don't know if ambiguous is the right word, but they're so like widespread or vague that I don't know what to blame it on. Let's see, is there anything else?
So I know that Mimi also brought up the idea of the impact on your mental, and I thought she was going in different directions, but I love the direction she went in. And so with this question, I'm asking more so about, just your because I know that depression and these different things are MS symptoms. And have you found that sadness that you feel is almost connected in that way to more of any mental symptoms?
Yeah, so I have dealt with depression for many years, and I just attribute it to being melancholy. Like that's my personality type, as a believer, as a Christian, or whatever, whatever label we want to give it. I believe in, the Most High God, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe he's the ultimate healer. And I believe that, we have this power within us, and that, how we think is very important. And so depression is, it's also a stigma in our community, right? Like, you can't be depressed. You're too blessed to be stressed, and you're too blessed to be depressed. And look at all that you have around you, and XYZ, insert all these materialistic things here that you should not be depressed. I've dealt with depression since before my diagnosis. So I don't know how to I separate them. But now, in looking at how things can be going completely well, and then all of a sudden, I feel it. Now I wonder if that is a part of the MS. And I recently read, I don't remember where, but depression is also an autoimmune situation. There are certain types of depression or whatever that we're going through. It is autoimmune, or it gets to the point where your body doesn't even know how to be homeostasis, like good. It doesn't know how to be good, and good feels weird. So it'll bring you back to the bad feeling.
I've never heard that before.
Wow.
And it's something that you said. I was smiling and nodding because, again, I can totally relate to, is this MS or is this something else? Because I see a chiropractor too, and okay, and I feel better after I got my adjustment. So maybe this was okay. I got a bulging disc. Maybe it's not MS related. I remember when I was trying to find an answer to why this muscle spasm just would not stop spasming in my back. I went to I think I went to 8 doctors.
Oh my goodness.
Because I was determined to find out this has got to be back related. I'm gonna keep going till some doctor tells me
and you got to fix it.
that they can fix this. And finally, I went to a renowned neurosurgeon here in Raleigh who looked me dead in my face and said, "Your spine is fine. There is nothing I can do for you surgically to fix what is happening." He said, "You have a muscle imbalance and it is related to your MS." When I tell you, I think I called you. Didn't I call you? I was like sitting outside the doctor's office waiting for my ride, and I had a whole attitude. I was upset because I just could. I had to accept it.
It's so hard to hear.
It's so hard after you go on the audit, because in your mind, okay, I'm for the most part, I can do everything that I could do pre-MS diagnosis. It's where you are right now. So it's like, okay, I can do everything. I haven't lost my mobility. So maybe the doctors possibly
got it wrong.
Right. And so, okay, I'm going to take this Kesimpta because that's what the doctor say I'm supposed to do. But there's somewhere in the back of your mind that is saying this, maybe they're wrong, right? And then are there days where you're like, you know what, I accept that this is what this is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then those are the days where I feel like, okay, I need to change my diet and do everything right so that I can feel better and be better. And that's where that whole easier said than done comes in. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to do a study on people who find out in their, 20s versus 40s versus, 50s. Like I hate to say it, lack of a better word, set in my ways. And I want to do better. And, I want to get to that part, where you're thriving. But some of the things that I really want to do for self-care and really just focusing and being well is very difficult when you have a family who relies on you. But one of my first thoughts is I don't need to work this job. Like, this job is very stressful and taxing on my mental, on the level of complexity. I can mention that like my memory and my cognitive putting it together has definitely suffered over the years. And doing what I do now, I can still do it, but I do feel the pressure. And sometimes I feel it would be much better if I could go back to being a massage therapist. Not that there isn't a level of complexity there, but it's touch and it's intuition and it's like you don't need to think once you have that.
It's challenging a different side of your brain.
Yes. Right. And so then that's where regret comes in, because I'm like, well, why didn't I do that? I should have not come off that path. I should have done this. There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas that happened in this season, because I look back like, if I had treated my wants and desires with more care, I would be in a better place. So that even if the diagnosis still came, or when the diagnosis came, because everything happens, God planned it out, it is what it is, but I'd be in a better place,
A better place
I have
mentally.
a better place mentally and a better place to take care of myself.
yeah.
Right. Like to be able to say, okay, I can't work for 2 weeks, or I can't work for a season because I need to take care of myself. And I know that my family's still going to be okay, that nothing's going to fall apart because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, because you mentioned that you did start writing again. You had stopped for a while. You started writing again. How are you finding that allowing that creative space for yourself is impacting your ability to cope with the MS, the symptoms, the side effects, the medication, all the things? Or is it just,
Honestly,
go ahead.
no, I was like, I don't really see a correlation. I think
Okay.
just creating the space to do it was very freeing for a while. I'm in a space where I haven't written in a little while again, but um, I think for me, it was just reminding myself to take that time to write and to create stories, to create something from nothing. But then it starts to become like, okay, then what to do with it? Like what next? And I'm always thinking about that. So I don't know. I have to get back into it.
Yeah, because I wonder what healing could come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Allowing your creative space and this space that we are dealing with. It is not our whole selves, right? The
Right.
MS is just part of our experience, but marrying the two and seeing what healing could come from that.
For sure. For
Mhm.
sure.
How do you all, and I guess this is for both of you all, and not to speak for your mom, but based off of what she has shared with the two of you all, how has this, how has your mom, you think, dealt with knowing that two of her daughters has MS?
You want
Hmm.
to say?
Well, I think the first response was denial. No, you don't. It was kind of like how I felt when I first got my diagnosis. It's like, don't tell anybody with lesions that they have MS. Like, because that's how you diagnose it. But
Mm-hmm.
we grew up in the don't claim it culture. Like,
Uh-huh,
if you don't
uh-huh.
say it, then you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You have something that looks like this, or so there was a lot of that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, BB. I
Right,
mean,
and with
Victoria.
that denial, with that, I think came, she wanted to do like you did, Mimi. Let's get a second opinion. Let's ask all the people and do all the things, and because it's real. Like, there have been plenty of misdiagnoses. These things do happen, and so I think, unfortunately, from my experience, she was in that space for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
um, at least from when I was young, and even to the point where it's like, well, we don't talk about it, or we don't call it medication. We call it supplements. We don't call it, and and I think a lot of that was part of her coping,
Mm-hmm.
right? As well as offering an option for me, like, you don't have to do it like this. You don't have to do it like that. Um, so once Tanisha also received the diagnosis, and then I think there was a lot more questioning and a lot more research that she has really dedicated to, recognizing that this is a part of our journey, this is a part of our experience, and not understanding,
Mhm.
not having a better understanding would be a disservice to both of us. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's in a place of acceptance and
yeah.
support, but one of the things I can say, just having my sister also going through this, it's almost, it's a blessing, because I know there's always someone I can talk to directly, and ask her, like, so did this happen to you? And you know um I feel like we have that connection even more so than before. Like, I was always somebody Victoria could talk to. I don't think you ever felt like you had to hold anything back from me. But now, like I said, I don't like to feel vulnerable. I don't like to ask for help. And now that I know that I'm in a space where I need to more, it's easier to talk to my sister about it than probably anybody else.
Hmm. Have you found that you're beginning to share? Because I know you reached out uh, and to your sister and said, "I'm ready to tell my story.
Yeah,
I'm ready to tell my story." Is this the first time that you're sharing your story? Kind of like,
publicly.
will people be shocked that know you, that have been in your orbit, and they'd be like, "I had no idea."
Yeah, some of them. My orbit's very small though, but I think yeah, some will be more surprised than others.
Yeah.
It's again, it's not something that I wear on my. I don't wear it because I can hide my symptoms. I walk with a limp sometimes, or I walk like something hurts because something always hurts. But that's how I was before the diagnosis, you know. So it isn't like anything's really changed. But you know, as far as work is concerned, I have had to divulge a little bit just so that I can get some grace there when it comes to
Yeah.
accommodations and
Accommodations
things.
and
Yes.
modifications.
I got a
Yeah.
standing desk, and
Mhm.
so it's yeah, it's still on this journey, but it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see what people's reactions are.
It's interesting because I like to plan the walk MS for our team every year. And I know that even after your diagnosis, you would still think of it as my team. And I wanted it to be our team. I want it to be our team. And
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if part of that is because you're just kind of like, this is your thing. I don't
Some of
know.
it is like the thunder, like you take the thunder, you know, like I don't want to take your thunder kind of thing. Like that's what it is, if that makes sense. And like, let me know if I'm wrong. And it isn't like I consciously thought of it too. It's because I'm also like not the planner, rally the troops type of person.
Yeah.
You're very good at that, and I'm good at facilitating. Like, okay, what do you need? What are we going to do here? So for me to have my own team, that wasn't going to happen. And then when you do the whole like, why are you walking? And I say I walk for my sister. Like I never really had time to think about the whole transition of I walk for myself
Mm-hmm.
and my sister and my you know what I mean. So it's just but that is a good point. But that's the main reason why I don't pick up the banner when it comes to the walk for MS.
Yeah.
That's Vic's project.
Mm. So,
Yeah.
like hearing yourself say certain things out loud now,
Mm-hmm.
is it now going, are you hearing some of what you're saying out loud and making like note of some areas that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna have to shift there. I
Yeah.
can, I can do this with her and not for her. I can acknowledge this a little bit differently. Are you hearing yourself and kind of taking note of some changes that you think you're going to make?
I am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am. I can't be specific right now, but I definitely am.
Mhm.
Mm. Tanisha, I am so grateful that you have chosen this as your platform to truly not just share with the world, but to recognize and share your story with yourself.
Mm.
Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting Mimi, because it's not an easy conversation, but to then have it with those that you trust and that you love. It's beautiful, but I would love for us to then like just start to wrap up with you offering whatever advice or encouragement you'd like to give someone that's walking through this same thing that we are, or specifically things that you went through that Mimi and I didn't. What's something that you can offer?
Well, I would say first and foremost, don't ignore those symptoms that make you like question what's going on. Don't put yourself last. That when my friend said that to me, and she said, if your daughters had mentioned the same thing to you, what would you have done? It really hit me of like, I'm just being silly. And that's silly. You know what I mean? Like, why am I doing this? So don't ignore the symptoms. And we talk about self-care a lot as a, you know, it's trending, like what self-care means. And it doesn't have to mean bubble baths and lighting candles. Like self-care is really not putting yourself last. You know, like I'm a born people pleaser. And it's funny because I'm like the most rebellious people pleaser, because on one side I have like this angst about me, but I'm still like, what do you need? Like, what are we going to get done? Like but I pride myself in being able to do that, But then I realized that I'm putting everything that I want to do last to the point where I don't even remember what I want to do.
Wow.
So don't do that. Especially
Yeah,
as women.
I can tell you love to kind of be that person in the background,
Mm-hmm.
kind of helping things behind the scenes. And now it sounds like you're coming into a season where you're like, you know what? It's my time to shine.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And you know what I realized, Mimi, through some like I've had some really heartfelt conversations with friends in this season, especially like I said, when I was coming out and doing more connecting with my friends and just I do want to be seen. I really do. It's just that I want to be seen in the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like I want my intentions to be clear and for me to be seen for the right reasons. But I do want to be seen. I just I don't know. It was very difficult to kind of balance that. Like I want to be able to facilitate and do what I do, and I do want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is
Yeah.
so rich.
I
This is
love that. I love that. You had said this earlier, recognizing like I matter, I'm important too, right? It's not that, and it doesn't mean that you don't matter. It doesn't mean that you're not important. It reminds me of the Black Lives Matter, and people would say like all lives matter. Like, yeah,
Right, right.
duh. I didn't say no one else matters. I just
right.
mean that like I'm recognizing that mine does. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that is great that you're just reminding us that you don't have to be last in
Mm-hmm.
order to help and still love and create a space for other people to feel important.
And it doesn't make you any less of a good wife, any less of a good mom, any less of a good sister, any less of a good daughter to
Mm-hmm.
put yourself first and be selfish in this season. I did want to ask you about your kids. Like,
Mm,
how have they noticed, like, what do they think is wrong with mommy? And like, do they acknowledge what it is? Do they
right.
understand?
That's a very good question because I think, of course, when I told them, I had to compare it to Victoria. Like I said, you know how Auntie V deals with this, and she has MS. Well, mommy has it too. I remember, I think I told Maya first, and she said, "Hmm." And the first thing she said is, "Does that mean you're going to get a placard for your car so you can park?" Are we going to get one of those?
You just want to know, can we get a good parking spot?
Right, we don't get good parking. Because again, my symptoms have not presented themselves in a way that has me laid out or has me, going away for, you know, rehab or anything. So I wonder sometimes if they even take me seriously. And that was one of the things I had to deal with my husband too, because sometimes, even when people are sick, flu or cold, whatever, and it's like, are you exaggerating your symptoms? Are you just trying to get out of work? Are you just trying to get out of
Mm.
whatever? So explaining it to my kids, which is basically that, mom's gonna need more help. Like I can't, we just like we would say anytime, like your legs are younger than mine. You walk up and down these steps.
Mm.
Go get me this, go get me that. I need to rest. I need to save myself from getting to that point. And so my oldest, of course, understands better than my youngest, and we're still working on
Yeah.
that.
Okay, good, good. I love the language that you used
What
uh,
was that?
with the kids. You know, mommy's just gonna need a little bit more help. Your legs are younger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Show me how fast you are.
That's right.
yeah.
Right.
It's beautiful. They are the such precious girls, and Tanisha, you've done an amazing job raising them and continuing to raise them. I watch how you have groomed them into Maya being 16. Like I'm still like, what?
I
I'm
know.
sure
We
you're
need to like
thinking
pop
the
up
same
pictures while we
thing.
talk about it. It's like my baby.
But yeah, but like through it all, just the fact that you have been able to nurture these beautiful girls and be the loving wife that you are, and then be in this space where now you're taking care of Tanisha. Like I'm so grateful that you. It's frustrating that it took this to get here, but praise God that we are here and you are still living and you're able to do what you said
Yeah,
you wanted to do.
I'm still
So
here for a reason.
yeah,
Just like you, Mimi. Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
of
It's
Thank
course.
you so much
maybe
for
we
being.
can do like a 6-month checkup and see how everybody's doing or something. I
I
don't
would
know.
Oh,
love
that's a
that.
good idea.
I
That's a
would
great
love
idea. I love it.
Well, thank you for being our guest today. And again, guys, please like, share, subscribe. Okay. Tell everybody you know about the Black MS Narrative Project.
Mhm.
And you can even donate. We have a Cash App at $ the BMSMP. Please, please, please donate to our cause because we want to become a 501c3. We want to offer merchandise. We want to put on different events, and we want to expand
Mm.
um, our reach. And we can do that through your generous support. So, any
Absolutely.
size donation.
Yes, and if you'd like to be a guest on our show, like the beautiful Tanisha here, please send us an email at the Black MS Narrative Project at gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about your story, what you'd like to share, what you'd like to offer to the community. And you don't have to have MS. You can be brother, sister, husband, wife, child, cousin, best friend,
Mm-hmm.
co-worker, whatever that looks and
Right.
feels like. If you have a story to tell
We
and
want to
you've
hear
been
it.
impacted, please do.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, let's heal together.
Heal together.